New York City is a fascinating destination in New York State. It's frequently ranked as one of the best places in the world to visit and is home to numerous landmarks. While most people associate New York City with Manhattan, the city actually consists of 5 boroughs. The most common misconception about New York City is that it is confused with New York State. New York is made up of a few places: Queens, Manhattan, Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Staten Island. New York City is part of the larger New York State. The city has its own mayor and is managed by the government. The city is the most populated city in the United States and has one of the most diverse people in the entire world. These are some of the interesting facts about New York City that you didn't know. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe to... Now, to the video. The Lenape, an Algonquin tribe who hunted, fished and farmed between the Delaware and Hudson rivers, were the first native New Yorkers. That year, the Dutch West India Company dispatched 30 families to live and work in New Amsterdam, a tiny town on Nutten Island. In 1626, the settlement's Governor-General, Peter Minuit, paid the natives 60 guilders in trade goods, including tools, farming equipment, fabric and wampum to acquire the much larger Manhattan Island. When the settlement was relocated to Manhattan, New Amsterdam had a population of less than 300 individuals. However, it flourished swiftly, and by 1760 it had eclipsed Boston as the second largest city in the American colonies. The city's 5 boroughs now house over 8 million people. The British took over New Amsterdam from the Dutch in 1664 and renamed it to New York City. Over the next century, New York City's population grew and became increasingly varied, with immigrants from the Netherlands, England, France and Germany joining indentured servants and African slaves. From 1785 until 1790, New York City was the capital of the United States. However, there were no convenient means to transport commodities from burgeoning agricultural hinterlands to the north and west until 1817, when construction on a 363-mile canal from the Hudson River to Lake Erie began. Finally, New York City had become the nation's trading capital. The city established its own municipal agency, the New York City Police Department, 8 years later. The city began to flourish, and work on its exquisite skyline started in the early 1800s. Lady Liberty was one of the first constructions in 1876 and is still one of the most visited places in the world. One of the most famous first buildings being the Woolworth Building, built in the 1910s. The Empire State Building was only built a few years later, in 1930. New York might be small, but its dense population and diverse nature have made it the centre of the world, where you can find people of all classes, races, occupations and backgrounds in a city smaller than London. This dense population means a lot of things, one of them being that you find an insane number of Chinese and Jewish people. You actually find more Chinese people in New York City than in any other non-Asian country in the world. To top it up, you can also find more Jewish people in the city than in any other city outside of Israel. To think of a small city taking on such numbers of people is insane. The entire city is estimated to have close to 9 million people. New York was always known as one of the most diverse cities around the world, but did you know that it is home to over 800 languages? If you've ever visited New York City, you know how bad the traffic is. Every car on the road appears to be honking its horn for some reason, so we can state unequivocally that this next fact is unknown even to the locals. Most people will be surprised to learn that honking your horn is illegal in New York City, unless it's an emergency. Given that drivers always keep their hands on the horn, I would assume that this law is not well enforced by local authorities. What else can you expect from a city that has made honking illegal? If you're a fan of going topless, then New York City is the place you can feel truly at home. There's a whole regulation on clothes that says you can go topless. This is especially for women who want to flex and be proud of their bodies. Now, although this all sounds fun, the roots of this legality will surprise you. In the famous People vs. Santorelli case, The law prohibited women from going topless in public, calling it indecent. The truth is that it has to do with equality. New York was the centre and probably the beginning of LGBTQ rights in the country, with a long history. Lombardi's Pizza, which debuted in Little Italy, Manhattan in 1905, is largely responsible for the popularity of American pizza in general and New York in particular. The first mercantile permit to sell pizza in New York was given to Gennaro Lombardi. Pizza is traditionally sold by the pie rather than the slice, and Lombardi's is credited with pioneering the use of the coal oven. Lombardi's is not the oldest continuously running pizzeria. After closing for 10 years in 1984, it reopened under the ownership of John Brescia and Lombardi's grandson. Pizza is a beloved food of NYC dwellers. Its history in the city runs along the lines of the subway price, creating what is now called the pizza principle. The principle reflects the fact that the price of a slice of pizza has remained equal to the price of a single subway ticket for over half a century. Dutch Governor Peter Stuyvesant surrendered New Amsterdam, New Netherlands' capital, to an English naval squadron led by Colonel Richard Nichols. Following its capture, the name of New Amsterdam was changed to New York in honour of the mission's organiser, the Duke of York. Beginning in 1641, the colonists and the Manhattans fought a protracted war that killed over 1,000 Indians and settlers. It was the first capital of the United States after the American Revolution. If you're a birdwatcher, New York City is one of the best places to spot your favourite birds. It's almost impossible to take a walk through the park without spotting birds or some birders. The best time for spotting birds happens to be during the spring season when birds are migrating. The city has seen about 275 bird species out of a total of 800 species said to be found in North America. And all of those have been spotted in Central Park in the city. Central Park is the single most filmed place in the world. The park has been featured in over 530 movie credits, with more added as the years pass. And for some reason, Central Park is one of the most attractive places for filmmakers to make movies. The park is ahead of Trafalgar Square in London, which has 131 movie credits. So if you take a random walk to the park on any day, you shouldn't be surprised to spot some actors and a crew doing their thing. New York City has been dubbed the city that never sleeps. Perhaps that is why most wealthy people simply love it there. New York City is the place of choice for billionaires of the world. The rich and diverse business, cultural and social environment makes it the dream city for most people, including the extremely rich and famous. Of its population of about 8 million, 380,000 are millionaires. With this many wealthy people in a small and densely populated place, nobody can tell who you might meet on your daily commute, at a restaurant or at an event. Nothing tells the rich apart from everybody else in New York City. New York City, known for its impressive skyscrapers and of course Wall Street, is where you go to experience a bit of every part of the world. And that could come at a hefty cost. If that isn't enough to shock you, the average rent in this affluent city is around $3,500 per month. Talk about shelling out big bucks for opulent living. Without a doubt, Monaco is a study in opulence, but the country only covers 520 acres, compared to Central Park's 843 acres. To truly appreciate Central Park's size, you must see it from above, which is why the window seat on the plane is ideal. Take a helicopter tour to see the sights if you're feeling brave. For nearly a century, the Statue of Liberty, a gift from France to the United States, has welcomed newcomers to America's shores. Lady Liberty's pedestal stands 305 feet tall, and visitors can climb it for views over Brooklyn and Gustav Eiffel's structural framework. Those who do not like to ascend the 154 steps to the crown can enjoy panoramic scenes of the harbour and downtown areas of New York City from the pedestal. In addition, park rangers provide guided tours of Liberty Island throughout the day, and a self-guided audio tour available in 9 languages is included with a ferry ticket to the island. New York City may be small and highly dense, but it certainly has much more than 12 fun facts. Which of your favourite New York City facts did we miss? Let us know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to, and we will see you in the next video.